since I have curly hair, I get tons of people with curly hair, and I don't really love the idea of specializing. It would never. Has anyone heard of WeDot salon? There's a salon in New York called WeDot, and they have a book, and they have really like a whole curly hair philosophy, and they really have a lot of things that have helped people with curly hair quite a bit. But all they do there is curly hair, and people always ask me, wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't you just love to work there? And I just think, not really. I mean, I really like the idea, personally, of doing a lot of different types of people and a lot of different types of hair. And I love to do, especially since I have curly hair, I don't really get the satisfaction of having anything linear on my own head, so I love to do it on my guests. So I don't really want to do all curly hair. I can't play any lines in it very well. But having said that, I have probably half of my clients have curly hair, would you say? Probably half of them, which is perfect, and it's really fun. And it really changes their life. Does anyone else in here have curly hair? They all look pretty straight. Okay, good. So you know probably that if you're wearing it curly, it's challenging to get a shape that you like, right? And it's hard for people to be comfortable with curly hair because it's so much more three-dimensional than straight hair. It sort of hangs, and we train on straight mannequins, and everything we do, we're sort of taught to see how the hair falls. And it's so different with curly hair; it sort of falls away from the head and kind of builds up sort of like shrubbery. Okay, so you like the curls in the back, but not so much in the front.
Yeah.
And what do you like about the curls in the back?
They're just more curly in the back. The ones my friends have like really shop.
Yeah. And have you had a few color processes on your hair? Yeah. So there's probably a little bit of just texture change from chemical processing, so they look like they're just not quite as bouncy. Have you had curly hair since you were a kid? And were they bouncy before? Yeah. So we can help you with that with a little sort of long-term color plan that would, keep it in a little bit better shape. And also with some good conditioning products that will help them build some of that strength. Probably, I think Damage Remedy would be the best for that. Have you ever been using that at all? I think that'd be great. So you would do like a conditioning treatment well, you could probably do it once a week at this point, and then go every 10 days and rebuild a little bit of that elasticity. So do you always wear curly? Do you sometimes wear curly? So what are you thinking about shape-wise? Do you have some thoughts? Have you seen anything that you do like? No, not really.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about overall length?
I'm really okay. I've had all different lengths.
Okay.
Had it long and had it really short. So.
Okay. All right. Well, what I'm thinking, what I'm seeing a lot of right now is, as we get a little bit more inspired by the 80s. If you think about the 70s, everything was really round and sort of shaggy, and all throughout the past 20 years, it seems like to me, everything has been really inspired by the 70s. So now we're getting a little bit more inspired by the 80s, which had a little bit stronger, more, pretty much the complete opposite of that. So it either was really heavy and had a really strong line, so that's why we see lots of bobs, lots of A-line. When I was doing hair back then, sadly. So I just remember that if you saw anyone with shaggy neck, I mean, all you want to do is cut that off, which is probably how you guys feel all the time, right? Don't you just want to first thing your client sits down, you're like, well, let's just bring this up first thing. And just cut that right off. Now it's cute. And so it's sort of the same feeling then, that everything had a little bit stronger line and was wider. Or then you also had lots of bi-levels, lots of mullets, lots of mohawks. So what kind of shape is that? Not wide. It's long and narrow and sort of rectangular, so really skinny on the sides and really tall on the top. And I kind of want to do something a little bit more like that on Sydney here, because I think we've seen enough of A-line bobs for a while. I'm doing them every day of my life. Plus, I also just think that it would help with getting a little bit of this damaged hair off without taking her hair really short. And it would be really, I think it would be really great on her face. Since she has a little bit wider face, it would be really nice to kind of bring this and make it really narrow and really tall. So that's going to be our plan. So how do you think we're going to do that? Any ideas? vision, and that was sort of the extent of it. Well, how would you go about it?
More layers.
More layers?
Shorter layers.
Okay.
Wait for a mohawk or?
Not super mohawky. I mean, I don't want it to be curly. I want it to be curly everywhere. I don't really want it to be that edgy where anything's shaved anywhere. But I want it to definitely look not so kind of loose and round. A little bit more like Elle's, but much longer. Because like I said, I want it to be curling everywhere where Elle has hair that's too short to curl.
You're gonna be so cute.
Well, the thing you want to do with curly hair, especially if it's never going to be worn straight, is you really need to see more dramatic shape in it. So I'm sure you've been learning for the past 6 months on how to make everything blend so that you can pass your haircuts. So everything connects and there aren't any corners and you don't have any drop guides, and that's great. And you really need to learn how to do that. But on this hair, it's better if everything doesn't blend. Because if it blends, you end up with a solid shape, and we really want to try to create some, take some weight out and build some weight other places, so you have to really be a little bit more aggressive with it. So we'll probably take a little top section and take some off this so that this can be short enough to be full up here. And then we'll probably take, I mean really it's this middle section that's creating this weight here. So I'm going to just take that little section